So students, as in this chapter there are two types of nutrition, that is autotrophic nutrition and heterotrophic nutrition. We have already learned about autotrophic mode of nutrition, which means auto means self and troph means nourishment. So we have all gone through this autotrophic mode of nutrition. Now the second type of nutrition, that is heterotrophic mode of nutrition. Here in the bold letters you can see the spelling of it: autotrophic and autotrophs and heterotrophs, that is heterotrophic mode of nutrition. That is second type of nutrition. Now from topic 1.3, heterotrophic mode of nutrition, that the other mode of nutrition will be started. So here, what is heterotrophic mode of nutrition? It means some plants which do not have chlorophyll, they cannot synthesize their own food. That is very simple. Without chlorophyll, plants cannot synthesize their own food. So that's why they have to depend on others for their food purpose. So this type of mode of nutrition is called heterotrophic mode of nutrition. So let's take one example, that many times you have found that yellow colored tubular structure twinning around the stem and branches of the tree. Many times you have seen on a road, on a park, everywhere. So here in figure 1.5 you can easily see that yellow colored tubular structure which is twinning around a tree. So this is called a cuscuta, and in Hindi you can say it as amarbel. So how does it take food from other plant? As you can see, it is binding around the another tree. So amarbel or cuscuta is known as parasite, and on which tree they are bind, that tree is known as host. Clearly written here that, see the last line of it, it does not have chlorophyll. Who does not have? Cuscuta does not have chlorophyll. It takes ready-made food from the plant on which it climbs. The plant on which it climbs is called host. So wherever it is binding itself, it means cuscuta is binding itself around a tree. That particular tree is known as a host. And since it deprives that host of valuable nutrient, it is called as parasite. Parasite it means those animals or those organisms which take nutrition from other. This is about plant, that cuscuta is known as a parasite. These parasites are only found in the plants, or are they found in animals too? Yes, it is true. Parasites are found in animals too. Examples: bed bugs, mosquitoes, some kinds of worms, some kinds of insects. These all are called as parasite. Bed bugs, as you know, that they are depending on the human or else other animals. They are sucking their bloods, and that's how they survive. In the same way, mosquitoes also take bloods from humans as well as from other animals, and that's how they survive. So parasite meaning is that some particular things, that organisms who are depending on the other animals for their food purpose, that is parasite. It means they are just taking food or nutrition out of it. They are not giving any kind of benefit to them. They are just harming it. That is called as parasite. Now the other mode of nutrition, that is insectivorous plants or insectivorous mode of nutrition. Many times in cartoons or in some funny films you have seen that a cartoon character is going near to a plant and then plant eats that particular character. Have you seen that ever? Yes, I'm sure you have seen it. So this type of such plants exist in real life also. So this type of plants are called as insectivorous plants. Have you seen or heard of plants that can eat animals? Yes, you have seen it, you have heard it also, but through animation. There are few plants which can trap insect and digest them. So in real world they are existing in such a world that they eat such insect. Is it not amazing? Yes. Such plants may be green or some other colors. Look at the plant in the figure number 1.6. Here in figure number 1.6 you can clearly see a plant which is of the picker, and that plant is called as picker plant. Picker plant showing lead and pickers. Picker, it means a jug-like structure. Here you can clearly see that a jug-like structure is there, and over there a lead is there. Come back here to the paragraph, that's the last line of it. The picker-like structure is the modified part of plant. The apex of the leaf forms a lead which can open and close the mouth of the picker. Here in the figure you can see that picker-like, that is the jug-like structure with a lead. Lead, what is the function of lead? That is, it can open as well as it can close it. Once the insect will sit on the picker, then the lead will be closed. Just go one word by word. That here the apex of the leaf forms a lead which can open and close the mouth of the picker. Inside the picker there are hair-like directed downwards. In the picker itself, the jug-like structure, that is the picker itself have the hair-like structures. It means what? Whenever insect comes and sit over it, so that hair-like structures will just grab it, will just hold it tightly. That does not allow insect to move or insect to fly over. When an insect lands in the picker, the lead closes and trapped insect gets entangled into the hair. The insect is digested by the digestive juices secreted in the picker. Such insect-eating plants are called as insectivorous plant. As in the figure, you can see that when the picker lead is open, there inside the picker, the insect will sit, hair will trap it, lead will be closed, and after that, picker will secrete some kinds of digestive juices on it. So that what happened? Insect will be digested inside it, and then they are getting nutrition out of it. So here it is written that this kind of plants are green in color. If they are green in color, they must have chlorophyll inside it. And if they have chlorophyll, then why they are eating such insect? In chlorophyll, it means they can perform photosynthesis. If photosynthesis is there, they can make their own food. If they are preparing their food, then why they are taking nutrition from the insect? The reason is that only they are taking proteins out of insects. So whatever insects will sit over there, they will absorb all the proteins and they will utilize it during photosynthesis process or during the food storage process. Now we will switch on to another mode of nutrition, that is saprotrophs. You might have seen packets of mushrooms sold in the vegetable markets. You may have also seen fluffy umbrella-like patches growing on rotting wood during the rainy season. Or else many times you have seen such type of white structure or greenish structure on the bread. So this type of things are called as saprotrophs. These are the saprotrophs. Saprotroph, it means the organisms which take nutrition out of dead animals or else decaying matters. Decaying matters, it means which about to get rotten. If your bread is packed inside the box for 2-3 days, it means after that it does not get oxygen, it does not get air, so it is going to be rotten. So over there, once you will open that after 2-3 days, you can find the tiny little structure of green color, that is the fungi, because that is about to get rotten. And rotten things are consumed by such saprotrophs. Let's take one activity over here. Activity 1.2. Take a piece of bread and moisten it with water. Leave it in a moist warm place for 2-3 days or until fluffy patches appears on them. So what we have to do, we just have to take one bread piece, moisten it, sprinkle little bit of water on it, and you pack it inside a box or else just left over as it is. So what happens, after 2-3 days you can clearly see the green patches or the white colored fluffy structure on the bread. So these patches may be white, green, brown or of any other color. Observe these patches under a microscope or a magnifying glass. As I know that you are not having such microscope, but you have magnifying glass, so use this activity. You can do it at your home also, students. So I hope you all will do such activity and use magnifying glass. So probably you will see cotton like thread spread on the piece of bread. Some very fluffy and soft material which is of other color other than bread. So you can find over there. That is what? That is fungi. These organisms are called fungi. They have different mode of nutrition. They secrete digestive juice on the decayed or dead matters and convert it into a solution. And then they absorb the nutrition from it. This mode of nutrition, in which organisms take in nutrition in solution form from dead and decayed matter, is called saprotrophic mode of nutrition. Plants which use saprotrophic mode of nutrition are called saprotrophs. So fungi as well as mushroom, they are the examples of saprotrophic mode of nutrition that comes under it. So fungi also grows on pickle, leather, clothes and other articles that are left in hot and humid weather for long time. So saprotroph is clear to everyone. Saprotrophs are the organisms which will just take nutrition from the dead or decaying matters. So for that nutrition, what are they doing? Once they will grow on it, they will just secrete some kind of digestive juice on that particular, whether it can be bread, it can be wood, it can be anything. They will just grow over it, they will just secrete the digestive juices on it, and then they will take nutrition out of it. So this is called as saprotrophic mode of nutrition. And under saprotrophic mode of nutrition, what comes? That is fungi as well as mushrooms. These are the examples of saprotrophic mode of nutrition. So now let's just switch on to another mode of nutrition, that is symbiotic or the symbiotic mode of nutrition or the symbiotic relationship. So symbiotic relationship is what I generally observed in the class between you students. That is, many times you are asking some pencil or eraser or something to your friend, and she will also ask some favor from you. It means you both are getting benefited. You will get your pencil and she will also have some eraser or sharpener or anything she wants. It means both are getting benefits. So this type of relationship is called symbiotic relationship. Some organisms live together and share shelter and nutrients. This is called symbiotic relationship. For example, certain fungi lives in the root of tree, and the tree provides nutrient to the fungus and in return receives help from it to take up water and nutrients from the soil. This association is very important for the tree. Here it has been said that at tree roots you can find easily the fungi structures. So why fungi is present over there? It means the tree where roots are there, roots are giving food and shelter to that fungi, and in return fungi is helping that particular plant to get water out of it. Moisture will retain due to fungus, and that's why plants can easily absorb the water. Okay, so both the organisms are getting benefits. Trees are getting water and nutritions, and fungi is getting shelter as well as nutrient from the or the ready-made food from the plant. Another example is given here, that is lichen. Mark my words, students, that this will not pronounce it lichens or something. This is lichens. Try to pronounce it. Write all the hard spellings which is hard to you, which is just uh, not easy to write. So please do practice of writing spellings. Okay, so lichens are made up of algae plus fungi. Are you getting my point? It means when fungi as well as algae both will combine together, they will form lichens. As you already know, algae is different thing and fungi is different thing. Algae is what which have green, okay, which are green in color, which have their own chlorophyll. And fungi, it means who can grow over the dead animals or decaying matters. So both the organisms are different with their characters, but algae as well as fungi, when merged together, lives together, and that particular structure is known as lichens. So the structure of lichen is clear to everyone. What is lichen? That is the organism where algae and a fungus lives together. Okay. So the fungus provides shelter, water and minerals to algae. And in return, the algae provides food which is prepared by photosynthesis. Okay, both the different organisms are living together. Okay, so both are beneficial here. In symbiotic relationship, both are beneficial to each other. So fungus is giving shelter, water as well as minerals to whom? To algae. And after taking all this water and minerals, what algae have that benefit? Algae is green in color, it have chlorophyll, it means algae can make their own food, but fungus cannot. So whatever food is prepared by an algae, that will be given to fungus, and fungus will provide in return mineral, water and shelter. So both the organisms got benefit out of it, and this type of relationship is called symbiotic relationship. This is very important. So now we will switch on to another and last topic of the chapter, that is how nutrients are replenished in the soil. It means how nutrients will be again come back to the soil once the nutrients are used by the plants. As you all know, during the growth of plants it requires nutrient, and that nutrients are absorbed from the soil. So soil must be declined with all the nutrients. Soil is just removing all these nutrients from it and giving it to plant. Okay, so after that, how again that soil becomes so rich in nutrient. So this is all about that, how nutrients are replenished in the soil. Have you ever seen farmers spreading manures or fertilizers in the field, or gardeners using them in the lawns or in pots? Do you know why they are added to the soil? Many times you have seen in your garden also, at your farm also, you have seen such that farmers are spreading something that something is nothing but the manure or the fertilizer to give nutrients back to the soil. Okay, so you learn that plants absorbs mineral nutrients from the soil. As everyone knows that plants are absorbing minerals and nutrients from the soil. So their amount in the soil keeps on declining. If plants are taking, then soil is losing that nutrients. Of course, yes. So fertilizers and manures contain plants nutrients such as nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, etc. You please mark this thing, that fertilizers contain which type of nutrients, that is nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, etc. These nutrients need to be added from time to time to enrich the soil. Once the crop will be harvested, after that what happens? Farmers are spreading fertilizers or manures into the farm so that all the nutrients will store back into the soil and soil will be again rich into the nutrients so that it can grow again new plants. We can grow plants and keep them healthy if we can fulfill the nutrient requirement of plants. That's true. If we are fulfilling someone's requirement, it means they can perform their task easily. If we will just take all the nutrients from the soil, we are not giving it back, so afterwards, after one or two harvesting season, that soil will completely losing its nutrients. So what we have to do? We have to enrich the nutrients into it again by spreading such. So this is your first way of getting replenished into the soil. Nutrients getting replenished into this. First way is spreading fertilizers or manure into the farm after harvesting. That's your first way. Second way we are going to learn. In second way, plants are taking help of some kind of bacteria who will help them to store the nutrients in the soil. Usually crops requires a lot of nitrogen to make proteins. After the harvesting, the soil becomes deficient in nitrogen. As we all know, for the synthesis of protein, what is required? Which nutrient is required? That is nitrogen. You learn that though nitrogen gas is available in plenty in the air, plants cannot use it in the manner they can use carbon dioxide. During autotrophic mode of nutrition only, I have explained such that plants cannot use direct nitrogen from atmosphere. Okay, they have to take some help of the bacteria and then they can absorb such nitrogen. So these are the things. They need nitrogen in a soluble form. Who need? Plants need. Plants need nitrogen in a soluble form. The bacteria called rhizobium. Please mark my word again. You underline this word, you write down this word for 10 times or 12 times. That is rhizobium. Rhizobium is a kind of bacteria. Are you getting my point? Rhizobium is a kind of bacteria. So the bacteria called rhizobium can take atmospheric nitrogen and convert it into soluble form. As you can easily get it, what is the function of rhizobium bacteria? They will just absorb the atmospheric nitrogen and convert into soluble form of nitrogen. Got it? So, but rhizobium cannot make its own food, as rhizobium is a bacteria. So bacteria does not have chlorophyll, so they cannot make their own food. So for the food purpose, they are depending on the plants. So this is also called one type of symbiotic relationship. Rhizobium bacteria are living in the root nodules, roots of the plant where they are living. So what happened? Rhizobium bacteria will just take atmospheric nitrogen and then they will give it to the plant. As plant cannot absorb direct nitrogen, that's why whose help they are taking? Rhizobium bacteria. So rhizobium bacteria will take nitrogen, atmospheric nitrogen, and convert it into soluble form and give it to plants. And then plants will make their food and they will share with rhizobium bacteria. So both the organisms, which two both organisms? That is rhizobium bacteria as well as plant. Both the organisms are getting benefit. So that's why in this way plants can replenish their nutrients. Are you getting my point? So it lives in the roots of gram, peas, mung, beans, and other legumes and provide them with nitrogen. Most of the pulses, that is dals, are obtained from leguminous plants. In return, plants provide food and shelter to bacteria. Okay, bacteria is giving nitrogen to plants and plants are giving shelter as well as food to bacteria. Thus, they have a symbiotic relationship. This association is of great significance for the farmers. They do not need to add nitrogen fertilizer to the soil in which leguminous plants are grown. So, like where the farmers have grown leguminous plants, it means nitrogen is automatically stored inside the soil again. Who stored it? That bacteria. So this is the end of the chapter. That in this chapter you learn that most of the plants are autotrophs. Only a few plants adopt other mode of nutrition like parasitic mode of nutrition. Inside it, which example you can consider, that is cuscuta. Parasitic mode of nutrition, that is cuscuta. And saprotrophic mode of nutrition, that is mushroom and fungi. They derive nutrition from other organisms. All animals are categorized as heterotrophs since they depend on plant and other animals for the food. Can we say that insectivorous plants are partial heterotrophs? Yes, insectivorous are partial heterotrophs only because they are just taking nitrogen from the insect and the rest of the food is prepared by them by using chlorophyll.